May you please take the mic, please, sir. Sorry for the inconvenience. You're usually right here in this first row for me. You're switching up the game, huh?
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Boy. Let's get into it. Today's lesson, this afternoon's lesson, disorder in marriages. Disorder in marriages. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1.
Isaiah 58 and verse 1.
Yep.
Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
So, whole lot of folk, right? A lot of Jakes, men, we go out on the streets. When we go out on the streets, this is one of our favorite scriptures right here, right? Right? Cry aloud, spare not, right? Lift up thy voice like a trumpet. Show the house of Jacob their transgressions and their sins, right? So here's the thing. Does that only apply out there? Or does it also apply up in here? Huh? Up in here? So watch this. Both transgression and sin are used, right? All right, so watch this. What's the difference between a transgression and a sin?
Let them know.
Anybody? What's the difference? Huh?
Pass that man the mic.
So transgression and sin are the exact same thing.
Pass it up.
Huh?
Yeah, it's sinning.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, here's the thing. Very similar words. All right? But that's the beauty of words. You can have multiple words that can pretty much bring you into the same vicinity in terms of a meaning of any specific thing. But a lot of times, those various different words have some variances or even some additional things that they carry along to get even more specific to what it is that's being addressed. All right? So when you look up the word transgress, it literally means infringe or go beyond the bounds of. Listen up. To infringe or go beyond the bounds of. The bounds of what? One of the things that they had in the definition, the bounds of a moral principle or other established standard of behavior. Literally also the origin of transgress, it literally means stepped across. Right? So now, when the Most High is talking to the children of Israel about their transgressions, right? Not just sin in itself, because we know that sin obviously is the transgressing of the law. Meaning what? Stepping over the line. Right? Going beyond the bounds and the confines of what it is that the law keeps us within. Make sense? So now, when we talk about disorder in marriage, one thing that you have to understand is the Most High, right? Through this book called the Bible, right? Spells it out for us. He gives us guidelines. He gives us law to say, as long as you stay within this, you're good. But if you go beyond that, you're disorderly. Right? All right, so watch this. How many people within the walk, within those who say, you know what, I'm an Israelite, I know that much. But somehow, some way, they still find themselves transgressing or infringing or going beyond the bounds of what the law says, what the Bible says should be so, especially when it comes down to marriages. How many of you guys know people, maybe even yourself, that has and may still be going beyond that line? Thank you for your honesty. Go from there. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 1. Verse 11, I'm sorry. So the question is, what would cause an Israelite, a self-proclaimed repenting Israelite, to transgress, to step over the line, to go beyond the bounds of the law? Let's see if this is it. Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 11.
Uh-huh.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Because sentence, meaning what? Judgment. Because judgment against an evil work is not executed speedily, meaning what? It's a lot of people that do a lot of things that it's specified in the Bible that there is judgment to come because of their actions. But because it doesn't happen right away, because it's not instantaneous, it's easy for that person to believe that it's okay for them to relax. And it's okay for them to continue on in their actions. And maybe even convince themselves that they have more time than they may have. And that even more so that they'll be forgiven, that there'll be overbearing mercy extended to them. Go ahead and read.
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
That's why our people and people abroad do the evil things that they do, because they think that they're getting away with it. Now, remember, we're talking about marriages. You got a whole lot of people with a whole lot of vain opinions about marriage. You got a whole lot of individualites, and you even got a whole lot of camps that have their specific tailored doctrines to what's comfortable for them. Now, what we're supposed to do is say, "Thus saith the Lord," even when it hurts for the moment. Because a lot of things, sometimes what we got to deal with in this Bible ain't always the comfortable thing to talk about. It's not always the popular thing to bring out. I know many people that stay away from so many different topics within this Bible because they don't want to ruffle any feathers. But the thing is, if it's the Most High's way, then you have to submit and find the beauty in it. Because as you level up and become more spiritual, you're going to have a better understanding, and you're definitely going to be all right with it. A lot of times you ain't okay with it in the moment because you're not as strong and as elevated as you think you are spiritually. That's just what it is. You're still very carnal. But when you submit to the will of the Most High, man, it's a beauty in that. It's a beauty, and it's a maturity that comes about and a wisdom that begins to come over you to cause our sisters to look that much more beautiful. Cause our men to be that much more respected and honored, right? But that's the reason. Go from there. Give me Hebrews chapter 13. Hebrews 13 and 4.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all.
A lot of people have read that and have heard that read and still don't have a full understanding of what that's talking about. Marriage is honorable in all. Now thank the Most High for tools, because one simple thing that you can do, you got some Bibles that have cliff notes, right? Or footnotes. And they can help you to gain a better understanding of exactly what's being said. So the word in can be substituted with the word among. So read that one more time.
Marriage is honorable in all.
In all or among all. So now if the Bible is saying marriage is honorable among all meaning who? Among all people, not just within Israel, but literally with the other nations as well. Marriage is something that's looked at as an honorable thing. Why? Because you can't build and sustain a nation without marriage. It's the fundamental building block of a community and thus a nation, right? You have within the various different peoples the different things that they do in various different circles, but it's always understood that there has to be some institution of marriage that's upheld in order to be able to do what? Procreate, right? In order to have someone to pass legacy on to. That's what makes sense. So when the Bible says marriage is honorable in all, meaning among all, how has it come to the point where we as the children of Israel have been convinced that marriage is not honorable? How have, especially, I'm going to keep it real, our sisters, more than our men, well, not our men too, but in a different way, more so in the world. But once we come in what we call the truth, right? And then the Most High says, do it this way and you're going to be good. But then there's still that apprehension, like, I know it say that, but. The Bible says, look, you want the cheat code? Here it is for you. Just do this. And I guarantee you, your marriage will prosper. Your life will prosper. Your community will prosper. But somehow, some way, amongst all the other nations, we, the children of Israel, have been convinced otherwise. I ain't with all of that. I don't know, whoop-de-whoop. Well, shoot, I ain't trying to just have nobody telling me what to do. Like, we look at marriage as such a dishonorable thing. Do you realize that? And it's something that's been purposely done. It's systemic. It was put in place a long time ago. One of the simple things, resources that you can use, just go back and read the Willie Lynch letter. The way our women especially act and think today is a direct product of something that was written hundreds of years ago. And is still at work to this very moment. So that's one of the first things that we got to change. We got to start looking at marriage for what the Bible says it is and for what all the other nations already know that it is. A lot of times, we looking, in terms of marriage, we just looking to hook up with somebody, to look in their face. They got a beautiful face or a handsome face or whatever. We hoping for a little bit of sexual gratification, and we hope they halfway decent, and then we gonna just figure it out from there. And then when it don't work out, we butthurt. But we ain't thinking about what it is that we're gonna be building. What role we're going to play. We don't think like that. Other nations are thinking like that. We gotta recalibrate. We gotta hit reset. Come back to this mindset, because this is the only way we're going to get back to our kingdom. Go from there. Go to Wisdom of Solomon. Esau demonized a lot of the basic logic that's spoken of here in this Bible and made us out to be pimps and gigolos. So the moment we speak of anything that's reminiscent of the evil seeds that he implanted within our people, we like, nah, I don't want no parts of that. And it was done purposely. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. And let's get started 22.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and verse 22. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but where they lived in the great war of ignorance.
That's where we at right now. You've been at war. We're talking about wars on the horizon. You've been at war. It's the great war of ignorance. Our people are ignorant. And the root word in ignorant is ignore. They ignore the laws of the Most High. They ignore their identity. They ignore their enemy and everything that's going on right before their very eyes. And here we are crying to them, hoping that they just look and see it for themselves and wake up. But watch this, read.
Those so great plagues called they peace.
And then it was so crazy, in the midst of all of the chaos that we live in, our people are always thinking that they find moments of peace. They think because they got a pretty decent paying job, at least here in Babylon, right? Got a fairly decent relationship, got some kids, got a couple of toys to play with, they found peace. He said that's far from peace. Because remember, our home, right? The capital of our home is what? Jerusalem, which means place of peace. He says you ain't seen peace until you get home. It ain't no real peace here. He said this ain't your rest. You ain't seen what peace look like. You got peace for a moment only to go back and serve your oppressor again and then come back home and be too tired to give what you should be giving to your family. Go ahead.
For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites.
So a lot of y'all will read this and you'll think this is something that's foreign to us. All of these things are happening right now. Children are being sacrificed left and right. Public school, I'm going to keep it real with you. The public school system is one of the biggest ways we sacrifice our kids. Yeah, you gambling, you hoping that you don't crap out. But Malcolm told you that. He said anybody with any kind of common sense would not allow their oppressors to educate their children. We keep taking that gamble. Go ahead.
Or made revelings of strange rites.
Go ahead.
They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled.
You see that? We've gotten to that place now. Things were never like they are right now. The music has been the biggest catalyst for us doing this. For us, like all marriages, it's just like it ain't no big deal. You can be in the room with a room full of adulterers and it ain't no problem. Are you a fool? And they talking about how I do this better than he do this, and I do this better than her, and you listening to music, that's my jam. Like literally, we've become so desensitized. This is where we're at right now. Most High said, I hate that. I hate adulterers and adulteresses. But we cool with it. To the point where some people even be like, man, somebody commit adultery, they done? Can't forgive them? Most High said, you don't understand that they caused death by the act that they committed. Well, I don't really see it. Just because you can see them walking around and smiling don't mean that they ain't dead. Go ahead, read.
But either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery.
Grieved him by adultery. You see the equivalent? It's making an equivalent of killing somebody and committing adultery. You know how many people's lives have been ruined by the act of adultery? You know how many people are so messed up that they'll never be the same, and they go and do other folks wrong because they were victimized? Go ahead and read.
So that there reigned in all men, without exception, blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults.
Now these are some heavy things, right? All of these things are pretty heavy, right? Yep. Keep on reading.
Perjury, disquieting of good men. Forgetfulness of good terms. Defiling of souls.
Go ahead.
Changing of kind.
Now watch this one. Read.
Disorder in marriages.
Disorder in marriages. Disorder in marriage. See, here's the thing that you got to understand. You cannot have a successful kingdom if you have disorderly marriages in your kingdom. Your kingdom will literally fall. We always reference Vashti. Ahasuerus, he already knew what it was. And his people told him, if you allow Vashti to get away with that, you're going to lose everybody. All of these women going to act up. The whole kingdom is going to be overturned unless you gotta take care of that. Why don't our people get that? Huh? Most High said disorder in marriages is a big deal. Read on and watch what's right behind it. Read.
Adultery.
You see that? Go ahead.
And shameless uncleanness.
And shameless uncleanness. And you see that all around you. Shameless uncleanness. Uncleanness talks about not only the things that you're thinking about, but when you go into Deuteronomy chapter 24 and it speaks of uncleanness, uncleanness is talking about also those sexual things that you do that's not quite going all the way to home to home base. You just running the first and second base, so to speak. But you still getting a little bit too touchy-feely with too many people. That covers uncleanness as well. Well, I ain't really do nothing much. It was just, nah.
Also, too, y'all seen that recent picture of Nicki Minaj, right? Showing her with the bathing suit on. She married, right? That's shameless uncleanness. Also, what's the other chick? Cardi B. Y'all seen her showing off her new tattoo? She butt naked. That's shameless uncleanness, according to the nation.
But you know what's sad? You ain't got to go look for a celebrity no more. All you got to do is look on Instagram.
Yep.
That's the sad part. And the scriptures say, he said, I don't want to see none of the daughters of Zion being whores. Like literally. That grieves the Most High, and it should begin to grieve you. It's a beautiful thing when our women and our people in general come out of that. But that's something it's become the norm now. You can go to the beach and see that. Go ahead.
For the worshiping of idols, not to be named, is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves, for insomuch as their trust is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt.
Go ahead.
Howbeit for both causes they shall be justly punished, both because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly sore in deceit, despising holiness.
So he's speaking of idols. Now, idols are not just objects, right? Idols become yourself. You looking at yourself and you can't get over yourself, you can easily become an idol to yourself. And he said not only the idolatry, also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. That's the problem. Too many Israelites despise holiness. Even in marriages. Bible says this is what you need to do to be virtuous and holy. Some women be like, that's a little bit too much for me right now. I'm going to work on it. I ain't got no intentions on working on it. Because it's a simple choice that you're going to make or you're not going to make. I mean, you're going to make the choice either way, but you either going to do well or not do well. But just like it said in Genesis, he told Cain, he said, but Satan is at the door waiting on you. Just know if you decide you got somebody waiting to use you. And that's what be happening. Satan be, oh my goodness, Satan be turning up. Literally, the word Satan, the name Satan means adversary. You become adversarial, adverse, and don't even know why you adverse. How many women, I'm going to see how real y'all going to be. I don't know how many of y'all married over there. How many of y'all, and it ain't even got to be for the sake of your marriage, have found yourself in a place where you just got adverse and you don't even know why? It just fell on you. So sometimes we got to make sense of what the Bible is talking about. Ain't no Satan in me. No, you adverse. That is. That's a satanic spirit, literally. Because you thinking about satanic, you thinking Marilyn Manson and all that nonsense. No. All you got to do is be adverse to what the Bible says should be. And you're being satanic at that moment. Read.
Verse 31. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners that punisheth always the offense of the ungodly.
You see that? Go from there. Go to, watch this. Go to 2 Ezra chapter 4, and I just want 1 and 2. Second Ezra chapter 4, verse 1 and 2.
Second Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer.
Go ahead.
And said, thy heart hath gone too far in this world.
This is what he told Ezra. He said, thy heart is gone too far in the world. Read.
And thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High?
And you think that you're going to be able to comprehend the ways of the Most High? That applies. It's so many folks in these marriages, and you don't realize that your heart meaning your mind is too far in that world. You ain't willing to pray and fast like you should because you need to detach from that volatile, toxic mindset that you got. You've convinced yourself that them TV shows, that music, those movies, sometimes even those books, those conversations with so-called friends and the homies and the homegirls, right? You've convinced yourself that those things have not put you in a place to act contrary to what this Bible says you should be acting. And the moment somebody comes and addresses it and tells you, you get upset, like, now what you talking about? Angel told him straight out. He said, look, man, your mind is going too far. It's too far in the world. And then he went on, if you read more, he said, you need to fast. How many 7-day intervals did he fast? I think it was like 4, multiple, back to back to back. He said, you gotta purge so that the Most High can use you. You gotta deny that flesh. You gotta weaken that flesh. A whole lot of us, our flesh too strong. Wonder why we can't get off of certain emotions and certain things that we holding on to. Because that carnality is taking precedence. And you got to acknowledge that. Watch this. Go to Lamentations chapter 4. And we're going to start at verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 3, and then we're going to drop down and get 6. Go ahead.
You said what chapter?
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1. How was the gold become dim?
So he's saying straight, and he's got an explanation. It's a question, but it's such a serious question that he said, I'm not going to put the question mark. I'm going to put the exclamation point on this. I'm going to shout it out. How? Because it's like unbelievable. How has the gold become dim? How did this happen? Read on.
How is the most fine gold changed?
Then another exclamation point. He said, how is the most fine gold changed? Read.
The stones of the sanctuary are poured out.
These ain't no dirty rock stones. We talking about jewels. Those are called stones. How are these precious stones that are worth so much, how are they poured out on the top of every street, meaning the corner? For anybody to come by and kick and step on or grab up, how did this happen? If those stones are precious jewels, somebody ought to have enough common sense to put them up for safekeeping. Watch this, read.
The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street.
Now let's see who they are. Who is this gold? Who are these precious stones? Read.
The precious sons of Zion.
Did you see that coming? Did you see that coming? Stop letting this world have you so caught up on dogs, on niggas. For all of my Israelites who happen to speak Spanish, well, give me a word. That's the equivalent. How, you know, the world looks at the men like they're less than. Give me a word, Ash. Probably the same word by now. Shoot. Fools. How did we become that? How did that happen? How did we get to that point? That's what the Bible is saying, like it's unbelievable. You read this history about the sons of Zion. Do you know that when we speak about the sons of Zion, we ain't just talking about the men that you see here that you like, but amongst our company is men like Moses, Elijah, Paul, Jacob, Abraham, the one that the world calls Jesus. Are they not inclusive of the sons of Zion? How did we get to this point? When we read this history of your forefathers being great, all of the great things that our forefathers did and how they fought for this nation. And now we've bought into the sons of Zion not even being worthy of a little bit of peace of mind. There's all types of expectations. We need to take out the trash. And I'm not going to even go into all of the extras because it'll take me into something else. But you know where I'm getting at. How am I going to go to war? How am I going to build something that's worth building a legacy upon and being able to give something to my children's children if I'm stuck trying to measure up to the standards, no offense, to the Israelite woman who does not have the expertise of looking towards the future, because that's not what's in her DNA and her makeup. That's the reason why men and women, they what's the word I'm looking for? They complement one another. Because women literally are created as nourishers. They're the day-to-day. They're the right now. That's why the babies cleave to the mama, because that's where I'm going to get the nourishment from right now. Mama's going to teach me day to day. Mama's going to give me the embraces that I need. And I'm not going to really understand the importance of daddy until mama teach me the importance of daddy. And then I'll finally experience the importance of daddy. Everything that daddy went out there to do in order to build something that I could have once I came of age. That's what it's supposed to be. So if I'm sitting up here and I'm trying as an Israelite man to measure up to the standards of my Israelite woman who's short-sighted, instead of doing what this Bible, my whole family gonna lose out. And we wonder why we so disenfranchised. We wonder why we stuck in a rut. Because it's been a simple game plan all along. The other nations are still following it, and they've convinced us not to follow it anymore. That's why. They've convinced you that it's a foreign thing not to argue in your relationship. It's normal. That ain't normal. I see these Edomites that do well in these other nations, and I'm looking at how they operate. They operate like this Bible says. They don't have them same issues in their houses, the ones that are successful. The wife understands, look, this is my job. This is what I need to do. I'm doing it in excellency. I got to make sure he's okay. That's what you see. And you'll never see that as long as you're watching Love and Hip Hop. You'll never see that as long as you're listening to the nonsense, the Drake and the YG, and you'll never see it.
Atlanta Housewives.
All of that garbage, all of that. And kicking it with the homegirl. You'll never see it. Am I lying? Go ahead, finish that up.
The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold.
Comparable to fine gold. He said, you don't even know how much these Israelite men are really worth. Because so many women feel like I can find them a dime a dozen. No, you can't. You think it, but trust me, gonna mess around and get you something a whole lot worse than what you intended to have. Go ahead and read.
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers?
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, meaning like clay vessels, plastic containers, like stuff that you can throw away. You ain't got no feelings about throwing away a plastic container. You don't have no feelings about that because you can go and buy another one from the 99-cent store. You can go and buy another one from Target. But when you got that fine china, even as far as to go, you got them gold cups and gold plates, I guarantee you ain't gonna just let any and everything happen to them, and you ain't gonna let any and everything eat off of that. Right? He said, that's the way I esteem the sons of Zion. I don't know how in the world you've gotten to the place where you don't look at them the same way, but I do, he know. Because it tell you how. It's a ploy of your oppressor, of your enemies, that they keep on convincing you that you ain't really got. Because you got all of them shows that show them in a light of sincerity. You got shows that show Edomites as compassionate. They have been the most uncompassionate people on the face of this earth. They show themselves as civil. They've been the most uncivil people on the face of this earth. It ain't a gangbanger amongst Israel that can hold a light to the type of stuff that Esau does on a day-to-day basis around the world. Facts. Read.
The work of the hands of the potter.
Go ahead.
Even the sea monster draw out of the breast. They give suck to their young ones.
Said even the sea monsters, meaning the whales, and they even take care of their young. But watch this, read.
The daughters of my people.
But the daughters of Zion
is become cruel like the ostrich in the wilderness.
They become cruel. It wasn't like that at first, and it ain't supposed to be like that. Go from there. Drop down to verse 6.
Verse 6. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sins of Sodom.
You got to know that history. Sodom was destroyed in an instant. And they literally got punished by fire and brimstone raining down. And it's evidence of that it actually happened to this very day. He said, but y'all punishment is worse than that. He said, because it ain't a fast kill. That's what he's talking about. Watch this, read.
That was overthrown as in a moment.
They were overthrown in a moment. Go ahead.
And no hand stayed on her.
And then no hand stay on Sodom. Once it was destroyed, that was it. He said, but this is a slow destruction. We got to sit up here and live with this on a day-to-day basis. How many folks, in both ways, men and women, you in your marriage, you like, man, I got to put up with this. You think, I'm stuck. Bible heavy, homie. The Bible is heavy. Go from there. Get Ecclesiasticus. Chapter 25. I want 16 through 20.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 16.
Now look, you shouldn't take no offense to this if this ain't talking about you. But if you do get offended, then you got to have that moment. You know how when you get offended, but you have that moment where you're going to decide how you're going to react? You're going to be like, man, F. Or you're going to be like, you know what? Ooh, that kind of hit me, but you know what? I ain't going to lie. I got some work I need to do. So you about to have to make that decision right now. Go ahead, read.
I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon.
He said, I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon. Not either or, but a lion and a dragon. Read.
Than to keep house with a wicked woman.
You hear that? I remember when I first read this years back. And folks be, what you saying? So the woman is just wicked. No, the wicked woman is wicked. Bible speaks of the righteous woman, but the wicked woman, he's saying, look, you want to talk about, because women always talking about, we ain't got no power, we ain't got no. He said, man, ain't nothing on this earth that has the ability to be more wicked than you. But he also talks about your righteousness. He speak about that virtuous woman. It's crazy because a lot of women be like, man, that virtuous woman, that's just a little bit much. Then you bring up Abigail. Y'all always talking about Abigail. Most High said, you are such a magnificent creature that he created. He said, can't nobody do wicked better than you. But I hope you don't want to be wicked. Read.
The wickedness of a woman changeth her face.
See, no, hold on. We gonna deal with that. Man, you ever seen just a bad sister? Or you ever seen just a pretty sister? She's so pretty until you see her open her mouth. Till you see how, her body language and the type of stuff that she do to people. And as pretty as she was, now she just one of the ugliest tramps you could meet. Bible is cold. Read.
And darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth.
You see that? Just dark. I done seen some sisters that at first glance, they magnificent. probably some of the most beautiful creatures you could ever imagine. And soon as you give them a chance to speak, you realize how dark they really are. Read on.
Her husband shall sit among his neighbors.
Uh-huh.
And when he heareth it, shall sigh.
Should
bitterly.
do what?
And when he heareth it, shall sigh.
How that
bitterly.
look, your child? I'm gonna give you something to do. Look. He said her husband shall sit among his neighbors, right? So imagine, you got the husband, the man, right? He's sitting with his homeboys or with his occupant, right? And when he heareth it, meaning what is he hearing? He hear her mouth. Or he just hear her coming. And what he do? Man. How many real moments have y'all had where y'all seen that happen? God. Y'all might not see it happen as much because, you know, the men that try to hold it together once you actually around. Right? They, put on the face. But before, and maybe it might not be you, but before them women come, they be, oh, man, here we go. Man, read.
Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly.
Read on.
All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman.
He said, man, all wickedness is as but little to the wickedness of a woman. A woman, she's willing to hurt you beyond. That's where that word transgress. She's willing to go beyond what your enemies would do. She's not just going to take your life. She want to take your soul. She wants you to die daily, but for the wrong reasons. She realizes the suffering that's going on with herself, and she wants it to manifest in your existence. So she's got some inconvenient things that she puts in play. I'm telling you. And I hope none of y'all want to be that. And if you have been that, I hope you repent. But I got to bring it out. Read on.
Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her.
That's what the Bible say. He didn't say, oh, I hope she repents and everything will be okay. He said, man, if you're going to be like that, let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Read on.
As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words.
Full of what?
Full of words.
Full of what?
Full of words.
Full of what? She always got something to say. Well, I'm just saying. There's a beauty, and even in times where someone might not be right, wise, whatever the case may be, but you're able to see that it's not so detrimental that you gotta, put in your 2 cents. You let it be what it's gonna be. And then you can always come behind the fact at the right time and say, hey, babe, by the way, I was just saying whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Oh, okay, I see. Or just sometimes you just ain't right. You just got an opinion, or you got a way that you like things to be, or that's convenient for you, and you want him to do it that way. And because he don't do it that way, you got a problem. You got to let that go. And you always got reasoning behind, or you got to get the last word, or you got to body language, because that ain't the mouth ain't the only way that you talk. The body language say a whole lot too. Go ahead.
To a quiet man, stumble not.
That's all I need. We're going to come back to that. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 36 and 23. This is what it should be. Read.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 36 and verse 23.
Uh-huh.
If there be kindness,
Uh-huh.
meekness, and comfort, and her tongue.
Ooh, kindness. You know what kindness is, right? Y'all ain't forgot what that is, right? How many of y'all over there are married? Okay. How many of y'all can say that you're always kind to your husband? All praises. At least one. And I thank y'all for being honest. Keep it 100. I thank you for being honest. Thank you. It's the most honest crowd I've had. I guess we had to do a little bit of purging. Man. But kindness, number one. Then he said meekness. You know what meekness is? Meekness is a combination of humility and patience. Combination of humility and patience. Are you humble and patient? Go ahead. And then the next one is comfort. How often do you comfort your husband? Gotta comfort him. Make him feel like it. You can't just assume or be like, you ought to be all right. What you tripping off of? You gotta make him feel comfortable. If that's in her tongue, go ahead.
In her tongue, that is not her husband like other men?
You know what it means when it says, then is not her husband like other men? You know what that means? That means he ain't just another run-of-the-muck black Latino man. As some of y'all say it outright, he just another nigga, or he just another fool. He's not that anymore. He's a man that's respected. He's a man that's doing something right. Because it shows in his relationship, in his marriage, in his wife. His wife, through her actions, brings honor to him. So you got to understand that through your actions, you can do the opposite as well. You can bring dishonor to him. Right? All right. Go from there. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Simple, 1 through 3.
First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
He said, keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you. He said, this is how it's supposed to be, and I need you to keep it that way. That's what I'm reading. That's what y'all reading, right? That's what you're reading, right? He said, this is the way it's supposed to be. Now watch this. Read.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
He said, I would have you know that the head to every man is Christ. So you want the woman, she got to follow the man, but the man ain't got to, he can do what he want. No. The man's head is Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
And the head of the woman is the man.
And the head of the woman happens to be the man. So you got Yahweh Shai so far. Up under him is the man, and then underneath him is the woman. Read.
And the head of Christ is God.
And then it goes back and says, but over Christ, there's a head over him, and it happens to be the Most High, Yahweh, the Almighty. So you got the Almighty, Yahweh. You got Yahweh Shai, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. Then you got the man, which is the husband. Then you got the wife. And then we can get into other scriptures, but for the sake of time, we know that the children fall under the women, right? Right? So it's not like the woman don't have nobody. She got the children. And essentially, for a time, you rule over those males that will one day become men. You have the ability to mold them into something great or the contrary, right? Real simple. Go from there. Ephesians chapter 5, 22. And we'll read down to 28, 22 to 28.
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22.
Uh-huh.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
You see that? As unto who?
Unto the Lord.
Which is referencing who?
Christ.
Yep. So now, what does that look like? If you submitting unto your husband as you would submit unto Yahweh Shai, then what does that look like? You gonna pop off at Yahweh Shai? You gonna call him a nigga? You gonna call him a fool? Wait. What you gonna do? You gonna treat him with a totally different respect, right? So now the Bible is making the correction and saying that's the same way you're supposed to address your husband. Facts. Go ahead and read.
For the husband is the head of the wife.
The husband is the head of the wife. Read.
Even as Yahweh Shai is.
Now it doubles back. Even as, read.
Yahweh Shai is the head of the church.
Yahweh Shai is the head of the church. Who is the church? Israel. The church that's spoken about in the New Testament is literally the nation of Israel. So it says, even as Yahweh Shai also loved Israel. How did he love Israel? It's going to talk about it. Read.
And he is the Savior of the body.
You missed something.
No, that was it. I was still in verse 23.
Oh, I'm sorry. I dropped down.
Yeah, you
Forgive
dropped
me.
down.
Forgive me. And he is the Savior of the body. Read on.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Yahweh Shai, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
In what?
In everything.
In what?
In everything.
In everything. Well, I don't know about everything. He just, sometimes he get on my nerves. He be doing too much. He ain't doing enough. He ain't wise. He be doing things so unwise. In everything. Well, what does that look like for me? What about me? What about my emotions? What about... You know what's so dangerous about a lot of relationships is that we're not willing to go to the root of how we got to where we're currently at. And we're not willing to be honest and say, this is what I contributed. This is what I contributed to the dysfunction that is now manifesting in my marriage. And it's got to be done on both sides. I'm not saying that it's all the women, but I'm saying that the Bible says that it's usually more of you. Now, that's a cold thing to say. And a lot of folks ain't gonna, I don't hear a whole lot of Israelites that just come out and say it. But it's the truth. It's the truth. You guys are the key. We're not going to go there today, but when you read Isaiah chapter 3 going into chapter 4, he said when the women decide to get it right, we go into the kingdom. Because a woman, man, I'm telling you the power of women. Women influence, and it's crazy because that's why you see the dynamic of what you see in the bootleg church versus what you see in the Israelite congregation. Women have more success at causing men to come and follow them. It's just like in the world. Only reason the man going and getting rims and beat because he want to impress the women. He's got to impress her somehow. Women don't have to get all of that. She just doll herself up and bat them eyes at you. Twerk that hip a little bit and you following. If the women was really about the Israelite congregation, and they will be, because the scripture says it's gonna happen. But if they had been about this like they was about the bootleg church, we'd have men overflowing in here right now. A lot of these women in these bootleg churches, man, they turn their husbands into instant poodles. Straight up, be poodles and neckties. Straight up. Should be a Rottweiler. Used to be a Rottweiler and a pit bull in the world. Now he's just a poodle. He ain't even on a chain. He on one of them little things that you got the little thing, the little wire thing that go out. He on one of those. Yeah, he on one of them.
Choke chain.
Not even a choke chain. He don't need a choke chain for him. He domesticated. He know how to walk. You know them ghetto dogs when he, you know, they be pulling. That's why you got to get a choke chain for him. She got him domesticated. He walking by her side. He prancing. That's what it looked like. He done forgot the lion that's inside. Go ahead and read.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Yahushua also loved the church and gave himself for it.
He was willing to give his life. He died for Israel. And he spent all his time trying to build Israel up. Prepare Israel for what was coming. That's what your husband's supposed to do. But your husband can't build you up if you trying to tell him what you will and will not be built up on. Don't say my husband don't build me up, he don't do this. When he trying to tell you, babe, instead of having fun, instead of going into this vacation, instead of buying those shoes, we need to buy these things because we need to be able to survive if such and such and such and such happens. We need to get emergency this and this and that. But you like, oh, you doing too much. And then he be like, you know what? The heck with you, I'm going to do what. And then you be like, he don't spend no time with me. He don't build me up. No. That's not the equivalent to what Yahushua was doing with Israel. When Yahushua came and walked this earth, he didn't have no time for games with Israel. You saw how he was dealing with Israel. He was like, look, this is what it is. Follow me. Get with the program or get the hell away from me. That's what I read. He sure wasn't doing what you see on them bootleg shows when they got Christ looking like a Cocker Spaniel. He wasn't doing that. When you read in these scriptures, Yahushua, he was with the business. He was like, this what it is. This how we rolling. To the point where grown men, they was like, man, I don't even know if I want to ask him. You know, he might trip. I had asked him the same thing last week. I low-key forgot what he said. So ask him for me. Man, I ain't asking him. That's how it was. So when you be like, man, my husband, man, what time are we living in right now? What's going on? We got a hurricane that just touched down in Texas, right? What time are we living in right now? Keep talking about this big earthquake that's going to happen. All this coronavirus stuff, we wearing masks everywhere. Come on, what time are we living in? It's time to prepare for something. God, dog. Read on.
That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word.
By the what?
By the washing of the water by the word.
By the word. You more concerned with other things that he can give you or he ain't giving you, and you don't care about him being able to give you the word. Give him time so he can build himself up so he can give you some more of that word. A lot of y'all, how many of y'all, you hear something that you ain't heard and you got some good understanding from something and you be just so excited about it? How often do that happen? Because some of y'all, it ain't happening often enough for. You rather see that latest episode of your favorite show than hear. You got to get to a point where you this is what you own. This is what's feeding you. This is what's keeping you going. This is what excites you. One thing I learned, man, when I had, I still got kids, but when they were little, when all I put in front of them was ABCs and words, they didn't care about nothing else. That's all they wanted. I remember trying to, you know how your kid get a certain age and you be like, man, I want them to play with this. I want them to like this. And they didn't care about none of that. All they cared about was words. Give me some letters. Like, all you want is some doggone letters? I just want words and flashcards. They see some new flashcards with some new words, they got excited. Why? Because they wasn't introduced to that tree of the knowledge of good and evil yet. Soon as you get introduced to that tree, and you got all of these other, now all of a sudden you off into this, you off into that. Yeah, and it worked the same way with grown folks. Be careful what you let into your eyes and into your ears. Because it's going to affect you. You think, I ain't tripping off of that, but then, man, that spirit come later on, you be enticed. Like, let me see what's going on real quick. Before you know it, you done got yourself caught up in some nonsense. Read on.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church, having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that he should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies.
So hold on. You got Israel that he was trying to take Israel, which was all messed up, work with Israel, right? Through all of the stubbornness and all of the drama, and build Israel to be spotless. I know a whole lot of y'all husbands feel like that ain't gonna never happen with your wives. But you gotta read this Bible. That's the hope that you gotta have. And that's the hope y'all gotta have too. Because Yahweh Shai was patient with us. I know it ain't easy. But watch this, read.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
You love your wife and you love yourself. When you don't love your wife, meaning, and I'm going to give you a manifestation of what that looks like. When a man, and it's a difference between holding your wife accountable versus you go over the line and you starting to really just like, she ain't worth nothing, this hoe, this, that. You don't love yourself. Because anybody that's listening to you, and they might not say it to you, soon as somebody that I know that you've invested so much in, whether you call her your wife or your main chick or whatever the case you want to call her, your girlfriend, your baby, and you've invested enough, if you invested enough to put your seed in this woman, and then she every kind of hoe, that makes me question your character. Even more so when I know this your wife, and she this, and that. Says a lot. So we do what we can to try to build her. Be patient. It ain't easy. Go from there. Ecclesiasticus 36. Nah, I didn't want it. 36, and I just want 24 and 25.
Ecclesiastes chapter 36 and verse 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
See, the Bible says, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. The man does not belong to the woman. The woman belongs to the man. And it should not, don't let this world make you get it twisted. I don't belong to nobody. I ain't no object. Stop watching them doggone sitcoms that have you to believe that foolishness. It's a beautiful thing to belong to a man of the Most High, to belong to a son of Zion.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing to be caught up in his arms and to be the object of his affection. That's a beautiful thing. Go ahead.
A help like unto himself.
And a help. It's a beautiful thing to be a servant. Don't let somebody shame you or convince you into believing that you have a second-class life because you are willing to be a servant to a man who's worthy of being served, and that you're going to reap the benefits of that because he's going to reciprocate that back to you. That's what they're not telling you. He ain't giving you nothing because you ain't giving him nothing. And don't think you did something once or twice here and there and that warrants for him to give you the world. That's not the case. Give him excellency and he will give you the world. Straight up. Read on.
And a pillar of rest.
And be a pillar of rest to him. A building that has pillars can't stand without those pillars in place. Those pillars allow for the building to sit at rest forever. Even when the ground shakes, even when there's weight on top of that rooftop, as long as those pillars in place, that building is okay. But the moment that you remove those pillars, ceiling is going to cave in. So it's crazy because in essence, yeah, the actual ceiling itself is the covering. Just like it said, the man is the covering to the woman, right? He's the head. But you the thing that's supporting him and allowing him to cover you in the first place. So watch this, to flip to that. When you don't allow him because you ain't there, you ain't standing solid, you ain't supporting him, then you can expect for him not to be able to cover you. Can't get upset either. That's what makes sense. Read on.
Where no hedge is.
Watch this. What's a hedge? Protection. Where no hedge is, read.
There the possession is spoiled.
The possession is spoiled. Anybody can come in and do what they will with the possession. Now, what's the possession that we talking about? We're talking about the wife. We're talking about the daughters of Zion. Why do you think so much is happening within the mind of the Israelite woman? Because it's hard to have an adequate hedge. Why? Because you won't even allow the man to build the hedge to begin with. They've demonized the hedge that he's trying to build. You going to let him build that hedge? You're going to be stuck. Don't let nobody get you stuck. You ought to be free. Do what you want. Go where you want to go. And you think that you're missing out on something. I'm missing out on that world out there. No, that world is toxic. That world is going to get your soul caught up. You want to be in his hedge. He controlling. No, stop it. Stop thinking like they taught you to think. And then you wonder why you're so spoiled and why he looking at you, the same beautiful thing that he married, now he looking at you with disdain. And you trying to figure it out. What? Because of what he see. He's seeing you being spoiled. Sometimes it's not a physical spoiling. You're spoiled mentally. You got a toxic way of thinking. You got evil suspicions. That's what's going on in the Israelite marriage, causing disorder. But watch this, read.
And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning.
A lot of times people don't know where that comes from, and they saying, what does that mean? But there's a colon before that. After it says, where no hedge is, there the possession is possessed. Colon usually is indicative of what? I'm going to further elaborate and give you an understanding of what this means or what's at stake, right? So you got a colon, then it says, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. Watch this. While you sitting there venturing outside of the hedge or not allowing the hedge to be built so just any and everybody can come in, play with your mind, tell you things, you got men that's playing the role, playing like they mourning, they going through this, they going through that, and you mess around and be like Jada Pinkett Smith. Before you know it, you in an entanglement. They've been doing that since forever. Everybody know they've been swinging. But then it got ugly, it got out. So then she gonna try to play, well, it's a new day now, people accept it. We're gonna do table talk. It's therapeutic. And he just supposed to support me. They done had all kind of swinging relationships, both straight and gay. So it ain't no new news unless you just green. You don't know no better. These young folks don't know. But it still make the man look bad because he like, you was supposed to keep that. Now you got people on my head. I look like the fool. Right? And nobody wants to look like the fool, especially not the man. You got to be careful. Allow that man, your husband, to make sure that he got that hedge so these wolves don't come and get you. They be shalaming you in your inbox. Tell me if I'm lying. All in your DM. Go from there. Go to Tobit, chapter 8. Tobit chapter 8, and let's get verse 4. We'll read 4 through 8. Go ahead.
Tobit chapter 8, verse 4. And after they were both shut in together, Tobias rose out of the bed and said, Sister, arise and let us pray that Yahweh would have pity on us. Then began Tobias to say, Blessed art thou, O Yahweh, of our fathers, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever. Let the heavens bless thee, and all the creatures.
So what kind of mindset was they in before they laid together? Y'all just throwing Jodeci. Some of y'all young folks didn't budge because you don't know what Jodeci is, but y'all throwing Chris Brown or Ty Dolla $ign or something before you get your nasty on. You ain't thinking about praying. He said they rose up and said, he said, let's pray together. It's so many Israelite households that don't even pray together. Husband and wife don't pray together. It's so many women, you don't even pray before you go to sleep. That's a lack of discipline. And it's a lack of a connect with the Most High. Keep it 100. How many of y'all pray faithfully every single night before you go to sleep? But watch this. It's crazy. I bet you prayed more when you was in that bootleg church, didn't you? You probably was doing watch night service prayer. You was on the prayer hotline.
Man, up early in the morning, 6
I hear my mother-in-law back in the day when she was staying with me, man. She'd be on the prayer line at 4 o'clock in the morning. Wake up faithfully. I remember watch night services overnight, praying on your face. Breath stinking. But now you in the truth and you don't pray. What's that about? Go ahead.
Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve, his wife, for an helper.
For what?
For an helper.
Nah, for a play toy.
For an helper.
Nah, just for sexual gratification.
For an helper.
Nah, just to look at.
For an helper.
For what?
For an helper.
A who?
An helper.
Wow. The Most High gave Adam Eve for what?
An helper.
And a what?
And stay.
And a what?
And stay.
To go wherever she want to go.
And stay.
A what?
And stay.
A stay. Wow. I like to see the world. I like to do stuff. I don't want to be cooped up in the house. A lot of you don't want to be cooped up in the house because your house ain't clean. You're not taking care of your business. You're supposed to make your house your getaway. Straight up. And once you do that, you'll find peace. You ever clean up and all of a sudden it be peaceful? You feel good. That's just like your car, and I'm guilty of that. When your car is clean, man, you got a whole different feng shui going on. Straight up. Go ahead.
Of them came mankind.
See, that's the thing. Of them came mankind. If we can't just be like, you know what, I don't need no woman. You know what, I don't need no man, because that's what the world will tell you. You don't need them. Yeah, you do. That's the only way we going to build Israel. That's the only way we going to keep it going. That's the only way we going to get this kingdom. Got to make it work. Read.
Of them came mankind. Thou hast said, it is not good that man should be alone.
That's what the Most High said. It is not good that man should be alone. He wants some companionship. He needs some help. When he can't stay because he got to go out there and do X, Y, and Z, he needs somebody who's going to be able to stay at the house and make sure everything's taken care of. I don't mean you can't never go nowhere, but you shouldn't spend, besides the time that you sleep overnight, you shouldn't be 80+% of your time elsewhere, not in your home. Shouldn't be like that. To be honest, it's crazy. It's crazy because a lot of women be trying to get away from home. And a lot of men, even though when we got to politic and do this and do that, we want to be at home. I like being at home. I like being at home. I like going places and seeing things and checking up on people. But it's more something that I have to do. I like being at home. Straight up. I sit up there and had an Akim come through and just play dominoes all day long.
Chill.
That's it. Or just have conversation. Joking and, man, talking about the world, building. It's simple. Go ahead.
Let us make unto him an aid.
A what?
An aid.
A who?
An aid.
Why do he keep reiterating the same stuff? Help, stay, aid. Aid. This person's going to be able to aid him. Go ahead.
Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself.
Read on.
And now, O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust.
Not for lust, because you just want to get in between the sheets. That's part of it, but it's not the biggest part of it. But why?
But uprightly.
Uprightly. And that's how men should be taking, because a lot of times we trying to figure out, well, how did the disorder get in our marriage? Because it started before you even married her. You were disorderly in how you went about finding someone who was ready to be a wife. Now you mad that she ain't doing X, Y, and Z when you could have seen clearly that she wasn't ready to be a wife in the first place. And I say it, and I've been saying it lately, and it's real. If a woman is not ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she's not ready to be a wife. I don't care how much she burning. I don't care how much she working. I don't care how much she doing. If she ain't ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she not ready to be a wife. I don't care how much she burning. I don't care how much she working. I don't care how much she doing. If a woman is not ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she not ready to be a wife. I don't care how much she burning. I don't care how much she working. I don't care how much she doing. If a woman is not ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she not ready to be a wife. I don't care how much she burning. I don't care how much she working. I don't care how much she doing. If a woman is not ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she not ready to be a wife. I don't care how much she burning. I don't care how much she working. I don't care how much she doing. If a woman is not ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she not ready to be a wife. I don't care how much she burning. I don't care how much she working. I don't care how much she doing. If a woman is not ready to fully submit and serve a man, then she not ready to be a Because a lot of times the women ain't even burning in the same way a lot of the men be burning. You be burning. The woman, she just kind of want what she want at the moment. And she don't care what she got to do to get what she want at that moment. Back in the days with us, if it meant you getting suspended, that's what it was going to be, because that's what she wanted. And she needed to secure that. It might not be every woman, but I'm keep it real. Keep it 100. She's like, that's what I want. I know so-and-so got their eye on him. He's mine first. I'm making the move. Keep it 100, man. We ain't got to play no games, man. It's me. Let's keep it real with you. And she was like, all right, now. Now we can go from here. We can figure it out. I'm going to console you. I hate you got suspended, baby, but.
Happen again and again.
Man, but that's the woman nature, because that's how women work. Like, that's what I want. I'm going to get it. This is how I'm going to go about getting it. Go ahead, though.
Therefore, mercifully ordained that we may become aged together.
But that need to be the goal. Be aged together. Not, oh man, I hope the Most High low-key give her cancer and she, something happened, she go ahead and commit some kind of adultery and it shouldn't be that. You should be like, man, I want her to get it right. I want us to live and be old together. Verse 8.
And she said with him, Amen.
So be it. Meaning she agreed. That's why the scriptures say it ain't nothing better than a man and a woman that agree together. Go real quick. Get Ecclesiasticus 25, 1 through 2. We're going to speed up because I want to get through this stuff. Watch this. 25, 1 through 2. Ecclesiasticus 25, 1 and 2.
Sirach chapter 25 and verse 1. In 3 things I was beautified, instead of beautiful both before God and men.
Go ahead.
The unity of brothers.
That's number 1, the unity of brethren. He said, I love that. That makes me look good. Read.
The love of neighbors.
The love of neighbors. He said, I love that too. That makes me look good and makes me feel good. Read.
A man and a wife that agree together.
He said, but that's that one right there. A man and a wife that agree together. They agreed together. They said, she said, so be it. I agree with you. I'm with that. That's beautiful. Now watch this. Verse 2.
Verse 2. 3 sorts of men my soul hateth.
3 sorts of who?
3 sorts of men my soul hateth.
Now I got to call it out. We got to deal with it. I know it's a little bit touchy, but we got to deal with this one. Read.
And I'm greatly offended at their life.
I'm what?
At their life. I'm
greatly offended at their life. God. Somebody tell you I'm greatly offended at your life. What would you think about that? You'd be offended like, whoa, hold on. Nobody's ever told me that. You're greatly offended at my life? Watch this. Read.
A poor man that is proud.
He said, I can't stand a poor man that's proud. He said, it's different a rich man being proud, but you poor, you ain't got nothing and you proud? You can't take a handout? You a fool. That's what he's saying. What's the second one?
A rich man that is a liar.
He said, now if you poor and you lying, I get it, I understand. You trying to make yourself look good. But you rich and you lying, it's no reason for you to lie. He said, I hate that. But what's the last one? Read.
And an old adulterer that doteth.
Doteth means flirts. When you start maturing and getting old men, it ain't a good look for you to still be that same old flirty guy. Most High said, I hate that. I got to call it like it is. I'm going to keep it real with you. I still got it. Yeah, it's a way we can still get it. You can still get them. You can still bag them, but it's a way to do it. Most High said, I hate an old adulterer that just everybody he come in contact with, he low-key flirting. He don't like that. You got to check that spirit. Let's go into it. Watch this. Go to Ecclesiastes. Stay in Ecclesiasticus. Get 36 and 22. We're going to have to deal with something real quick. But now here's the thing. He said an old man. So once you get old, it should be a situation where, okay, your flirting days are kind of behind you. And he also said an adulterer in all fairness, right? Meaning someone, he's flirting with folks' wives too. That ain't cool. But watch this. 36 and 22.
Ecclesiastes chapter 36 and verse 22.
Uh-huh.
The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better.
You see that? So watch this. This is going to be a touchy one, but I'm going to keep it real. I got to keep it real. How many men, husbands, might be on their Instagrams, and they had their moments where they kind of flick through, see a pretty face or two, and that might uplift their countenance a little bit. I ain't telling y'all to point nobody out, but you know who you are. I'm going to keep it real with you. We're going to see what the Bible said about it, right? Said the man love nothing more. Here's the thing, and my wife said it at first, it kind of made me feel some type of way. It's like, all men. I'm like, man, don't put me in that category, right? But like, oh, you know, it's in men's nature, right? Well, we know that polygyny is of the Bible, right? We having a hard time figuring it out, though, right? Because we live in this society. So it's a touchy subject, right? Am I right or wrong? Okay. So is it okay flicking through them Instagram? Now, how long is he looking at that, sister? How many pics is he checking out? How intense? And what kind? But I'm just saying, the Bible says the beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man love nothing better. Let's put it together. Stay in Ecclesiasticus. Probably trying to figure out where I'm going with this. Get chapter 9, and we're going to read 5 through 8.
Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 5. Gaze not on a maid.
What does the word gaze mean? Huh? You staring, you looking intensively. So I'll give you the equivalent. See a sister out there on the street, right? She got a big backside. I got to say it in layman's terms, man, so we can keep it 100 with each other. All right. Jake's be like, look, man, oh, okay. All right, how long are you looking? Did you look and you was good? You turned?
Good.
Or was you gazing? Damn. Look at that. Just keeping it real. Gaze not on a maid, read.
That thou fall not by those things that are precious in her.
That thou fallest not by those things that are precious in her. Because if you look long enough, you're going to find a reason to holler. Whether it's what you see, or if it's in person, you looking, and then she mess around and be like, hey. Because even above that, they talk about not keeping company with a singer, or, singer, woman that, got the abilities and talents to do certain things. You know, you ever see a woman and you like, man, God, dog, the way she sung that song. Man, she's sexy. The Bible giving you some wisdom. He said, be careful of that so you don't fall into that trap. But watch this, read.
Give not thy soul unto harlots.
Give not thy soul unto harlots. What's the definition of a harlot? Someone that will just give it up to any and everybody, right? That don't necessarily look like prostitution. She just might be one of them chicks on Instagram or one of the homegirls. And she uphold herself. You think she's just the dopest woman on earth, but she got a couple of homies that she, you know what I'm saying? The Bible says, give not thy soul to them. Read on.
That thou lose not thine inheritance.
Because that's how you lose your inheritance. Now, how does that play? You mess around and marry this woman, right? She got that spirit on her that she having a hard time shaking. Next thing you know, things fall apart. She go do the extras, and she taking half. That's how that look. Bible is on point. So what he's telling you is, them eyes can get you caught up easily and cause you to make some real bad decisions in who you marrying. Be wise. Read.
Look not round about thee in the streets of the city.
See, now that's changed to Facebook and Instagram. Them the streets that you looking at now. Like, oh, let me see. See, now you ain't limited to just your hometown. You can look at chicks all in the States and out of the country. Searching. Go ahead.
Neither one thou in the solitary places thereof.
And you definitely better be careful about being alone with one of these women. Read.
Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman.
So it don't say that you didn't look at her, but it said once you done looked at her, you better turn away. Better not get caught gazing and staring. So the women, you want to know that question, is it okay for a man to look at her? Yeah, you know what? If he look, you got to be secure within yourself to say, all right, he look, whatever. Now, you get to gazing. Now, you might want to have words of wisdom for your husband. Don't get too jealous and go overboard, but have words of wisdom. And men have wisdom within. Just say, you know what? Yeah, she looks good, but she's probably a demon. I'll pass. Yeah, the bathing suits got me interested. I need to turn from that. That ain't what I want my wife to wear. Common sense, right? Yeah. Okay, I'm just saying. Go ahead. Was that all of that?
And look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman.
Boy, you thought she was so beautiful that her personality had to match, and she was just the devil. The devil in Prada. Well, you don't wear Prada no more. What they wear, they got Birkin bags. The devil with red bottoms. Read on.
For herewith love is kindled as a fire.
You be falling in love, and you be love sick when she leave you. Or when she take you for everything that you got. That's the danger of looking too long. So women, don't press him too hard for looking, but just offer some wisdom when he looking too long. And on these Instagrams, it's easy to look too long. That's why I just be like, I'm cool. Me personally. Go ahead, go from there. Go say in Ecclesiastes, get 25. We can go past that, but that's stumble not at the beauty of a woman. Go to 1 Timothy. I need to bring this out. I need to bring two out in particular. 1 Timothy, and I got limited time. 1 Timothy chapter 5. And 9, start at 9 through 15.
Book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 9.
Yep.
Let not a widow be taken into the number under 60 years old.
How old is that? So she becomes what's known as an elder woman. Elders are not just men, but you have also elder women. If she's under 60, right? He says, let her not be taken in the number. And he's specifically talking about something in particular that we're about to read. Go ahead.
Having been the wife of one man.
Having been the wife of one man. If she's over 60 and above, she's been the wife of one man, she's, did her thing, then she's good. Read on.
well reported of for good works. If she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, if she have washed the saints' feet,
Go ahead.
if she have relieved the afflicted,
Go ahead.
if she have diligently followed every good work. But the younger widows,
if she did all of that, she good. In other words, don't press her to marry. What good is it for her to marry? She's not about to bear any children, right? She's in a place where she's just, you doing this in life, and then you kind of get here, and then you kind of start coasting down. She's doing this. She served that one husband well. He passed on. She's good. She don't have that same fire and desire to be with another man. Let it be. But watch this, read.
but the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton.
What does the word wanton mean? When they begun to wax wanton, what?
Against Christ.
Against Christ. I'm gonna give you the definition of the word wanton, because I bet you a lot of y'all read that or have had it read to you, and you never knew what wanton means.
Sexual.
A sexually unrestrained woman. Behave in a sexually unrestrained way. Rebellious, lacking discipline. The actual word that it comes from literally translates to badly trained, right? So it says when they wax wanton against Christ, against Yahweh Shai, do what?
They will marry.
They will marry. Meaning what? They're going to go and sleep with somebody. They're going to go and be with somebody. They're going to get in a relationship. So what he's saying is, be careful. If you don't help to set up women, hopefully to be within righteous marital situations, right? To have a good righteous head over her, and she's supposedly following alone, she's in danger of becoming wanton, meaning be in a place where, because that's the thing between an older woman and a younger woman. And some people, you fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. You got that burning desire. You got something inside of you that want to be with a man. Sometimes it's sexual. Sometimes it's just companionship, whatever the case may be, right? So what he's saying is, don't play that game. You're going to mess around and marry. Marry means have sex. Bible is on point. But watch this, read.
Having damnation, because they have cast off their first faith.
And then damnation gonna come because you cast off your first faith. Meaning when it says you marry, you didn't marry wisely. You went and laid with somebody and developed a worldly relationship. Go ahead.
And withal they learned to be idle.
And then that's when all of these other worldly things come into play. Some sisters is like that even with the husband. Become idle, go ahead. Learn to be idle, read.
Wandering about from house to house.
That ain't something that you're supposed to do. He said he created Eve to be a helper and a what? Stay. You want to go from here to there. You can't stay still. You ain't taking care of home, but you want to get away. You want to, go ahead.
And not only idle.
Not only idle, meaning you ain't doing nothing. You just on your phone, on the gram. Go ahead.
But tattlers also. And busybodies.
You all in folks' business. You telling this, you telling that. Go ahead.
Speaking things which they ought not.
Speaking about things that you shouldn't be talking about. Ain't none of your business and ain't your place. Read.
I will therefore that the younger women marry.
Now that sounds contradictory if you don't know what you're reading, because it just said they gonna marry. But what he's saying is, I'd rather you marry righteously. Marry a man that's gonna anchor you. Marry a man that's gonna give you a hedge. Marry a man that's going to instruct you. Allow the wise men to help, to guide you in marrying someone that's going to be productive versus you just trying to figure it out and then you mess around and meet somebody and then That's what the Bible says. Read.
Bear children. Guide the house.
He said, I would rather you marry in a righteous way, bear children, guide the house. Read.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
And do what you're supposed to do. Don't be popping off and saying bad things about your husband, dirty. It's not supposed to be like that. Read on.
For some already turned aside after Satan.
Some already turned aside after Satan. They already adversarial in their minds. You see how that works? Don't that make sense? It's going to be the last one we go to, man, for the sake of time. Ecclesiastes 26. And I might have one quick one. It's just the one verse after that I wanted to end it with. Ecclesiastes 26. We're not going to go through this whole thing, but going to kind of spot check it.
26 and 1.
I'm about to see what I want. 26. I want to get to the meat of it. Start at verse 5.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 26, and verse 5. There be three things that mine heart feareth. And for the fourth I was sore afraid.
He said three things that his heart feareth, meaning his mind fears, but the fourth he was sore afraid. Meaning I was terrified of this. Read.
The slander of a city.
Slander of a city. He was sore. He was fearful of that. You know, the slander of a city. Read.
The gathering together of an unruly multitude.
That's 2. Read.
And a false accusation.
A false accusation will tear you up. It will destroy you. Read on.
All these are worse than death.
Sometimes somebody can slander your name so much that people believe things about you, and it could feel like it's worse than death. Because here, when you dead, you ain't got to experience nothing else. You gone. While you living, you got to take all of that hurt. People don't understand how big of a deal that is. I've been recently in them shoes, folks bringing forth false accusations. But watch this, read.
But a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman.
That's that fourth thing. He said, I'm afraid of that. I'm sore. I'm terrified of that. A woman that is jealous over another woman. Because I know y'all be like, it is what it is. It's just a society. But the Most High, the prophet's like, look, I'm scared of that. Why? Because there's so many major issues that come out of that type of mindset. Because that's not what he had ordained it to be from jump. That will destroy a nation. That simple jealousy. Go ahead.
And a scourge of the tongue, which communicateth with all.
And that's what he said that comes along with that. She ain't just going to feel some type of way within herself. She telling this sister, she going to make sure she tell that sister. Keep it real. You be like, you feeling like that? She need to know. I need to know. I need to cover myself just in case it come my way. I need to make sure ain't nobody up in here. Because if she do it, then everybody going to start accepting it. Then it might hit my doorstep. I got to make sure everybody know. He said, man, that ain't a good thing. Go ahead.
An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that hath hold of her is as though he held a scorpion.
You know what a scorpion is going to do if you hold on to him, right? He's going to sting you. He's poisonous. He's going to light you up. And he's going to keep stinging you. It's not like a bee that can only sting you one time. He's going to keep stinging you. Keep injecting poison. Go ahead.
A drunken woman and a gatherer abroad.
Now, we got to deal with that. Drunken. Yeah, we know what drunken is. But figuratively speaking, drunken also means influenced. An influenced woman. Some of y'all be like, well, I don't drink like that. But you influenced by the world. That's that drunken. Go ahead.
And a gatherer abroad.
What is a gatherer? A gatherer, someone who goes around from one place to another in pursuit of pleasure or entertainment. Are you a gatherer abroad? Are you always trying to go from this place to that place just so you can try to find some happiness for the moment, something to entertain you? A lot of daughters of Zion have fell into that. But that ain't the spirit you're supposed to have. We got to get out of that. We got to build our babies, build our houses, build our communities. Read.
And a gatherer abroad causes great anger.
Causes what?
Great anger.
You wonder why your husband is frustrated. That's why you influenced by this wicked world and how they think and not by what this Bible says we should be. We got to recalibrate. We got to reset. Read.
And she will not cover her own shame.
And it gets to a point where it says she will not cover her own shame because she feel like it is what it is. Well, it's what it is. It's how I am. That's a dangerous place to be in. Read on.
The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks.
And her haughty looks and what?
And eyelids.
And her eyelids. That body language, them looks. Go ahead.
If thy daughter be shameless.
So, and this is what I wanted to bring out. It starts there. A lot of y'all, I'm going to be real with you. This is not, listen to what I'm saying. I am not justifying your behaviors at all. But I'm understanding that it is difficult for you because now you are an adult woman having to change. When it would have been a lot easier had you had parents in place at that stage to check you and to hold you responsible, and it would have been a lot easier. So now that should be the motivation for you guys to get yourselves together, to say we got to make sure that our daughters don't take on the same mindset and these same curses. We got to correct it. I got to be better for them. That's more than enough of a reason to change. Go ahead.
Thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straightly.
Keep her in what?
Straightly.
Because you can't do this with a woman. Once she grown, you can hope she's going to allow you to, you can't punish her, you can't make her do nothing. You can take away a few things, but at the end of the day, you can't do much to a grown woman. But when she your child, you can do this. And this is how you teach them. Go ahead.
Lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty.
Sometimes you can give that young girl too much liberty, and she's going to destroy herself. So now, think about it. The man can't make you, but guess who can make you? You can make yourself. Once you know, this is what I need to do to tame my spirit. This is what I need to do to fix myself. This is the key. Go ahead and read.
Watch over an impudent eye. And marvel not if she trespass against it.
Go ahead.
She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler. When he hath found a fountain.
Now the Bible is heavy, because you know what this is talking about, opening her mouth. This is speaking of sexual stuff. Yeah. Absolutely. Read it one more time out. Because we got kids in here, I'll leave it for you to interpret. Read.
She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler, when he hath found a fountain and drink of every water near her.
You see that? Read.
By every hedge will she sit down, and open her quiver against every arrow.
So that's talking about both ways, right? Bible is heavy. This is the type of behaviors that girl will begin to take on as she becomes a woman if she's not guided and corrected and raised right. So as grown women, now you can understand, you can delve into your psyche because the Bible already did it for you. And you can say, okay, now I know how I need to fix this. Now I can see what's going on with me. Or I can see what's going on with my sister. Go ahead.
The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones.
Go ahead.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
It ain't a bad, it's a crazy thing because y'all be so worried about your husband going and seeing some woman on Instagram that's showing all of her goodies to every other man, and you scared to lose them to her. You should never be scared for any of these men to be lost to one of these. No. What trumps a quote unquote outwardly beautiful woman is a woman that's well instructed all day, every day. It could be the one where Jake's be like, she ain't even really that much of a looker. But the minute Jake see how well instructed she is, her stocks go way up. Not only her stocks go up, but that man's stocks go way up. Just because of her being well instructed, following the script, she become the most desired woman beyond any of those women that you think are so beautiful. And that's real talk. If you don't know that, have conversations with men. Because a man that got any kind of common sense, especially once he get over that little youthful stage, he going to tell you in a heartbeat, I'd rather have a woman that's going to listen to what I'm telling her to do. I'd rather have a woman that's going, I told her how I like it, and she do it every time. We don't never have no arguments. We don't never have no disagreements. That's heaven right there on earth. Read. 15.
A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace.
Shamefaced meaning what? She knows how to act around other men. She ain't doing the most. She know, because it's a balance, and you got to learn it when you're young. You don't know it first. But once you get old enough and people tell you, you know the balance, you cause him to never, ever feel no type of way, and he loved the hell out of you for that. Go ahead and read.
And her continent mind cannot be valued.
Can't be valued. Your mind is always going to beat your booty, because your booty going to get old and saggy one day. Your face going to get wrinkled one day. That stuff ain't going to last, but your mind goes far beyond that. Your righteousness, your virtue. Read.
As the sun when it ariseth in the high heaven,
Go ahead.
so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house.
Why would it reference the sun? Because the sun is faithful to come up every single day. You can always depend on that sun going up. He says, so is a woman, the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. You want to be more beautiful to a man, to your husband? Be the best at taking care of your house. You ain't got to put on too much makeup. You ain't got to go and get no plastic surgery, get no booty injections. You ain't got to go get no breast enlargement. You ain't got to do none of that. That man will love your drawers. I ain't going to say dirty ones, but he will love your drawers. If you order that house and take care of that house, he will love you long time. Straight up. Yeah. Straight up. Go ahead. I'm almost done.
As the clear light is upon the holy candlestick, so the beauty of the face in ripe age.
Man, we love you more when you get older and wiser and more mature. It's crazy, man. My wife, she talking about I'm gained weight and I'm getting gray hairs. And I'm like, you look better than what you did then because you way more cooperative. I'm afraid you're not attracted to me. If we still doing things, I'm more than attracted. Don't worry about that. That's just what it is. No, nobody want to start over. Nah. That's why he talks so much trash. I'm gonna do this, and he still be right there with you because he don't want to start over. It's true though. You be mad, I be mad, but I be like, man, I'll be doggone if I go back and start over and it be worse. I done invested too much. Real talk. Go ahead.
As the golden pillars are upon the sockets of silver, so are the fair feet with a constant heart.
Constant mind, man. Fair feet with a constant mind. She's grounded. She's rooted. Go ahead. That's all I needed. And then the last one is, we don't even have to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 9. Living joyfully with the woman of your youth. That's the way we got to get to, man. We got to follow this Bible, man. So all praise be to the Most High and Yahweh Shai. I see you in the quad, man. All praise be to the Most High, Yak. Any announcements?
Announcements.